Hey guys, Ben Taylor here with Raw Motivations. Wanted to come on here and talk about the lies that I believe. Hopefully you've seen a couple of the videos. I'll try to attach them below or put them in a playlist for you. But the lies that I believe. This is part 2, the lies that I believe. If you've seen the first video, the Narcissists Lies, and you'll see the lies that I believe there. It talks about the cost of the lies in my life. How the lies cost me connection with my wife, with my daughter, my relationship with God, the friendships around, the relationships I had with other people, and it cost me my job. And those lies built up so much of this ginormous debt, this ginormous cost. And I had to sit back and watch, and I had to walk miles and miles with these rocks in my bag, one at a time, and each one symbolized a lie in my life. And the purpose of that particular exercise was to go through and was to think, what is the cost that all these things have done to me? What is the cost that has happened with all my relationships, with all my friendships, with all the people around me that I've hurt? And as I started to go, I had to come up with 7 different ones. This is like, I guess at the time of this recording is like almost 2 years ago. I had to come up with like 7 different lies. The first one I talked about in a video previous to this, and that lie, the rock that I put in my bag was symbolized, that lie was, I can do this on my own. If you want to know more about that, check out that video. Okay, this video is rock number 2. Rock number 2 going in the bag is this right here. This is the lie that I was telling myself. I am a good person. I am a good person. You see, there's an aspect of everything that I'd done, everything that had happened, all the cheating, the lies, the affairs with different people, the gaslighting, the manipulation, the screaming, the rage, all that stuff I knew was not acceptable, was not good, was not right. And I didn't want to admit that. So I kept telling myself a lie over and over and over again. Hey, I just raged out. It's okay. You just had a bad day. You're still a good person. I just yelled at a person. I just gaslit a person. I just lied about this, lied about that. It's okay. You're a good person. It's fine. And kept trying to diminish the aspect of what I was doing, diminish the hurt that I was giving other people, diminish the sin that I was doing in front of God. And I would continue to do these things time and time and time again, but I would go back to that lie. And it was one that I didn't even realize, I didn't even know was under the surface. I was telling myself, it's okay, I'm a good person. It's okay, I'm a good person. What I wrote with my lie, number 2, the rock, I am a good person. Apart from God and His grace, I'm not. There's nothing inside me that makes me automatically this good person. And it was shown by my choices. It was shown by the actions that I did. Just open me up, let me loose. What you see is not goodness. It's not love. It's not care. It's going after my own lust, my own affections, the own things that I wanted in life. Just go out and get. So how does this affect me? I am a good person, so in my body, goes back to the first one, I am good enough. I don't need to exercise. I don't need to work on me. I'm already good. I'm good, man. Nothing to worry about. Going to my being, my idol, replacing me, replace God, was me. What I replaced in my life and my thought process and everything was, I'm going to replace God with all-sufficient me because I am a good person. So therefore, I don't need God. I don't need this other being, person into my life to tell me like what to do because I'm already good. I'm already good. And I would tell myself, and I would ignore the things that I would do. I would ignore the lies that I had. I would ignore the manipulation. I would ignore the gaslighting that I was doing. I would ignore everything like that. Because I had to hold on to something that made me feel better about myself. And that lie underneath the surface was, I am a good person. And so as a result, I replaced God, or replaced morality with me. All-sufficient me. I'm good. With balance, what I was able to do is twist the story. Everything that Kayla did was wrong. Everything that I did was right. Why? Because I'm a good person, and she's not, obviously. That was the thought process, the mindset, the mental craziness that I'd go through of thinking, getting to the place of hey, I just emotionally abused you. I'm a good person. You're the crazy one. You're the one that's yelling at me now. Why are you yelling? Like, okay, yes, I did push you to that point. Why are you yelling? Like, the mindset of narcissism, the mindset of the lies that were inundated in my life on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis, that were ingrained. Like, it's not something that I woke up one day and I was like, let me write down these 7 lies because I know exactly what's going on. No, it took me 30 days on this 30-day challenge. It took me looking inside. It took me working through a whole lot of shit to be able to say, hey, this is who I am. And this is what I'm telling myself. If you've done coaching with me or like one-on-ones, one of the things we do is we go through a process of dealing with your feelings, your emotions, and talking through what's the story. What's the story that you're telling yourself? This is the story. This is the story that I'm telling myself, that I'm a good person, so I didn't need God. I didn't need anyone else in my life. I was self-sufficient. I'm a good person. Everybody else is wrong. I'm the one that's right. And that thought continued to grow and continued to fester year after year after year, regardless of the abuse that I gave other people. So I talked about body being balanced in business, would judge everyone for their wrongs when I had much more. I'm a good person. Like, that's the thought process. Going through these different things, being in a relationship, a marriage with my wife while cheating with other people throughout our marriage, I would still sit down with someone else and counsel them or coach them or try to encourage them or even pray with them that they need to get healing in this one area. I remember sitting down and talking to a friend of mine and talking to them and them talking about their marriage and then talking about how their marriage was falling apart and they didn't know what to do and they weren't sure what was going on, but they knew that their wife had been involved in an affair and they knew that it was going downhill. They knew that there was a possibility of divorce, all these type of things, and I'm sitting there knowing that I'm doing the same exact thing. And I'm talking to them, counseling, coaching, giving my advice. How big of a hypocrite is that? But at the end of the day, I didn't want to think of that. All I wanted to think of was the idea that I am a good person. And that's all that mattered. My idea, my perception, my thought. I'm a good person. Everybody else is not. And so I'd hold on to that. That's where you start to disassociate. That's when you start to compartmentalize. The idea of like, hey, I'm in a relationship here with my wife, and in this compartment, in this reality, I'm faithful, I'm true, and everything, and I'm a good person over here. And then we move over to this reality, this box with the affair partner, and hey, in this reality, this other side doesn't exist. That other box isn't there. So I can just focus on this person. I love this person. I'm committed to this person, everything. And you focus on both those two things. You don't focus on them together. You split them apart. Now, do that with the counsel to that other friend, to encouraging other people in their relationships and different things going on, and manipulating other people, other events. And then coming back to that phrase and thinking, I am a good person. And that's what I wanted to believe time and time again. I'm not a good person. I haven't been a good person. And admitting and understanding who I am, who I was, gives me clarity of working through all of that shit, all of that crap. Working through all of that to say, hey, this is who I've been. And that past is no longer going to define me, to keep that cycle, to keep going in the way that I've been going for so many years. That past no longer defines me. It is now developing me to be a different person. To be a person that's on this platform to teach people about narcissism, to bring awareness about what narcissism is, because it hides. It hides underneath the surface. It hides underneath abuse. It hides in the pew at church. It hides in the workplace. It hides in the cubicle. It hides everywhere. And the only people that see it, the only people that feel it and experience it, are often those behind closed doors that are abused on a day-to-day basis. That's who I've been. That past no longer defines me, but is developing me each day, that I look back at it and say, hey, that's not what I want to go back to. That's not who I want to be. But I have to face the lies that have inundated my life and that have been underneath the surface so much for so long. And that second lie there, the second rock I picked up and put in my bag, I am a good person. I would tell myself that while I was abusing someone else. I hope this helps today. A little bit of vulnerability. Check out TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, just for short 1-minute videos of nuggets of truth. If you haven't already, download the Narc app. It's on Apple and it's on Google Play. Would love to have you interact there with other survivors, other people that are in the midst of it, that are finding healing, growth, and change on there. If you want to talk sometime, click on the link down below. Check out the podcasts, Raw Motivations, on Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify. Thanks so much.